Y'all, today on Energize Live, welcome to Energize Live, by the way. Also, listen, I had this great podcast interview with my friend Rob Struckman yesterday. You're going to love it. It comes out next week. And it was such a powerful reminder. And this should be a very powerful reminder that we're all figuring stuff out. We are all figuring stuff out. I don't know if this tiny mic works. And I don't know if it sounds better for you, right? That's why we figure it out together. So if you are hesitating on doing something, like, listen, also, I'm getting a haircut today. I can't even tell you how excited I am. Look at this one. What are you doing? Just lay down. Just lay down. I can't even wait till I get my haircut today. A combination of a hurricane last week and my hairstylist getting sick last week too. Listen, so my point is we're all figuring stuff out. And I think it's really easy for people to see someone, like you might even see me, which is interesting. You might even see me and go, oh my gosh, she's live on Instagram every day. She must have it all figured out. Clearly, I do not have it all figured out, okay? I cannot figure out how to get this Bluetooth situation that would clip connected to my... So we don't have it all figured out. We're all trying to figure it out. But I do think this tiny mic will give us better sound. I just have to hold it the whole time. Which is really annoying. Okay, so we're going to make some Energize. And the reason why I'm exploring this tiny mic is because I want to use more Energize Lives for podcast episodes. Why? Because I am obsessed with our conversations that we have, with our back and forth that we have, much more so than me sitting in a room recording something by myself. I would much rather be having a conversation with you. It's why I love my subscriber community. It's why I love coming on here to Energize Live. It's why I love my coaching community. I want to be having a conversation with other high vibe women. And sometimes I don't feel like that when I'm sitting upstairs recording a podcast just on my own. It feels a little isolated. And I thought, gosh, why can't we use some of these awesome conversations that we have on Energize Live for podcast episodes to actually reach more people and maybe even get more people into our Energize Live community? Well, to do that, my podcast people who help me edit and produce my podcast would really like me to have better sound. Because sometimes they're like, no, you cannot use that. You cannot use that video that you made while walking outside. The sound's bad. I'm like, but it was really good. And they're like, no, it's not. And no, you can't use it. So we do have to have good sound. That is very important. Very important. So hence the tiny mic. That's why we're going to just kind of explore that for when we once we get the Energize made and we're kind of chit-chatting. So while I'm making the Energize, let's talk about this first, because we're going to go into a whole series and just a whole theme for the next 6 weeks of thriving during the holidays. That is our theme from now until end of year. It's thriving during the holiday season. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Before we do that, please tell me, did you get Taylor Swift tickets? Because really, that's the most important piece of the conversation, right? Did you get Taylor Swift tickets? And if so, what show are you going to? And if so, how long did you have to wait in the queue? Did you get Taylor Swift tickets? Where are you going? How long was your queue? Tell me if you did. Because I will tell you that we got Taylor Swift tickets. And it was a whole, listen, if you don't, it was like a literal battle plan. We had all the places to have all the codes. We had all the accounts set up. We did a FaceTime, when the codes went out, and then the codes went out, and then it was Josie who waited in line to get the Taylor Swift tickets. Now, a little context on our family is, and I feel like I should bring up this picture every time Taylor Swift goes on tour, is that years and years and years and years ago, we saw Taylor Swift before, really just on the cusp of her getting big. She was at, I can't make this up, she was at Country Thunder in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, We go to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin every summer. That's where my husband's family has homes. There's this big country music festival called Country Thunder that happens every year. Taylor Swift, before she was like ginormous, she was big, but she wasn't ginormous, was there. And the girls were obsessed with her, of course. And this was curly hair, sequin dress, cowboy boot, Taylor Swift, okay? This is Tears on My Guitar, Taylor Swift. This is Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift. So she comes out, she does her show. And the entire time, she's doing her show, the girls are like, we just really want to meet her. We just really want to meet her. We just really want to meet her. Me being the mom that I am, I'm like, how am I going to get my kids to meet Taylor Swift? And I was like on a mission. To this day, I can't tell you how I managed it. I cannot. But somehow, some way, I managed to get them backstage in this like meet and greet that I think was probably for the fan club. I don't really know, but we managed to get them backstage. I managed to get them backstage for this meet and greet, and we have a picture of Taylor Swift and my children and me. I don't know how many years ago. Curly hair, sequin dress, Taylor Swift. And when I tell you that she was so nice, and her dad was there because is still kind of part of her management team, and he was like moving chairs and helping. I had a conversation with her dad. The girls had a conversation with Taylor Swift, and she was so kind. And I truly hope that is who she still is today. But my daughters have been Taylor Swift fans literally since the beginning of time, and they've seen every concert. So we had tickets to Loverfest that got canceled because of COVID. And so there was no way that they were not going to somehow figure out how to get to this concert. And so we did. Josie spent a lot of time in that virtual queue yesterday. But we got 5 tickets for the August shows in Los Angeles, and that's what we wanted because Josie's in Los Angeles. So we're going to do, and Jessie will be off the ship in May. So we were also looking, our dates were a little bit limited because we want Jessie to go too. So she gets off the ship at the end of May. So it's the first weekend in August, and we'll do a family trip out to Los Angeles and hang out with Josie and see the concert and do Disneyland and do all that stuff. Because of that was the one that we were hoping for. We were really wanting LA because we wanted to do a family trip out there. So that's my Taylor Swift story. I hope you got tickets if you're wanting tickets. And I know other people said, well, I got this ticket and this ticket. Listen, I love that you got those other tickets to Pink and to Billy Joel and whatever. I love that you did. That is not the story of the day, okay? The story of the day is Ticketmaster crashing because of Taylor Swift, all right? That's all I'm saying. It's not that Billy Joel isn't amazing or Pink isn't amazing or that those aren't valid. Those are amazing concerts. Those are amazing. But the story of the day is the Taylor Swift queue, okay? So we're just saying that's the story of the day. So we did get tickets, 5, LA in August. Listen, it's not like we're on the floor or anything, but we will be in the room. We'll be in the room, okay? Also, you may have seen this. Elton John is doing his farewell concert, and he's coming to LA. He's finishing it in LA. It's also going to be broadcast on Disney Plus. So if you are an Elton John fan and you're like, there's no way I'm going to get tickets to go see him, or I'm not going to go out to LA to see his last concert, it's going to be broadcast on Disney Plus, and you'll be able to see all of it. And I'm sure they'll have added documentary and footage and stuff like that. So just a little tidbit for you if you weren't aware of that. This tastes exceptionally good today. If you are not drinking ENERGIZE, what are you doing? Who are you? Beth, that's a really good question because we were in line, and then I say we, even though she was in line, we all know who's paying for the tickets, okay? So this is very much a we situation. She may have been waiting in line, but we know who's paying for the tickets. She was in line, and then Ticketmaster crashed. So we did get codes. We got the pre-sale codes. We actually got 2 of them. And we got the pre-sale codes. She was in line, and then Ticketmaster crashed, and then she had to get back in line. It was a mess. But then today is the Capital One pre-sale, and they both Jenna and Josie have Capital One credit cards. So they're going to try to get tickets that way as well to see if they can get better seats than the ones we got in LA, or maybe just additional tickets. I don't know. Josie's also going with two of her girlfriends to Houston. So it was just really the story of the day was Taylor Swift yesterday. And are we going to get these tickets? And Josie called me. She's like, oh my God. So then we had a family FaceTime. And anyway, I hope if you didn't get them, may the force be with you and you do get them. Okay, I'm going to plug this in. Let's see how we go. Oh, wow. There's a little pause there. Okay, tell me what you hear and how you hear it. How's it sound? Do I have to hold it like this? The tiny mic? Do you have to hold it like I'm a rock star, but it's like with a tiny mic? Like this, how do we like this sound? I feel like the sound has to be clearer because I've eliminated the travel time from my voice to here. So yeah, it's much clearer, isn't it? Okay, so we are going to talk about, for the next 6 weeks, we're going to talk about the idea of thriving through the holiday season. And I know that we've touched on this before. And the reason why we want to talk about it is because I spent a lot of years, more years than I care to talk about, more years than I care to mention. I spent a lot of years surviving. If someone sends me tiny hands to hold, that is exactly what I need. It needs to be, I need a stand that comes up within little tiny hands that hold it so it sits here, right? That's what I need. It needs to be on a stand, but the stand has to be tiny hands right here. Okay, let's focus. Let's focus. So I spent a lot of years really just surviving during the holiday season. Honestly, the description that I use always is I was white knuckling my way from October 31st to December 31st. I was white knuckling my way through 2 months. I was just trying to survive. And I look back now and I really think about why. And I think there are a lot of pieces in there. One, society expectations of women all the time, but also during the holidays, and taking that on. Familial expectations of what the holidays should be. I had a lot of baggage, a lot of generational baggage from my mom on what the holidays should be, and her very loud and certain opinions on how the holidays should be. And it's interesting, growing up, we had, very traditional holidays. And even though I was much younger than my siblings, and my siblings lived in the town where we lived, of course, because nobody left, and they would come over, and we had really traditional, like everyone was at our house on Thanksgiving, and my mom was such a martyr, and she did all the cooking and all the things, and then, complained about having to do all the things, but wouldn't let anyone help her. And then had to set this really amazing dining room table and blah, blah. And then Christmas had very, sort of strict, like, this is what we do, this is what we do. And so you grow up with not just society expectations of what you're supposed to do in the holidays as females, you probably grow up with generational baggage. So let me know if in the comments if that resonates with any of you. Do any of you feel like you grew up with some sort of generational expectation baggage of how the holidays are supposed to be and how they're supposed to feel and what you're supposed to do and what's wrong and what's right, and if you do something different, how any and all of that. Like, I really felt that and have had to unpack a lot of that because then, when I got married and had children, we certainly participated in some of that, for far too long, which probably really contributed to me white knuckling my way through the holidays. And, I'll be honest with you, my mother-in-law had very firm expectations that we were going to be at their house on Christmas Day for breakfast, and my husband, being the middle child and just sort of, he doesn't like to rock the boat, would never say no. And so I can't tell you how many years on Christmas Day our girls would get up, because I was really firm about our children sleeping in their own beds on Christmas Eve, but they would get up in the morning and it would be like Santa and open presents and toys, and then get ready, we got to go, because we had to drive, because we were the ones that had to drive to Chicago, because we had to be up there by 10 a.m. I'm like, what? So unpacking that and getting firm in, no, that's not happening. I remember we got rid of, because it didn't work in our family, because everyone's family is different, and you should evolve and grow and whatever. We got rid of our dining room table because we didn't need a dining room for how our family functioned. We didn't need a dining room. We needed that room to be like a study room, a reading room, a gathering room. And then eventually during the pandemic, I turned it into a second workout space, almost more of a yoga studio space. I put a TV in there and we had a second workout space because everyone was home. But we didn't need a dining room, right? I will never forget the first time my mom came over and the dining room was gone and there was no more dining room table. I can't make this up. It's funny now because you're like, what? When she saw that there was no dining room table, there was a whole diatribe on how us not having a dining room table is contributing to guns in schools and the decline of the family. Let me just take a drink of ENERGIZE as you digest that. I said it. We didn't have a dining room table. That's why people not having dining room tables, but us specifically, was contributing to guns in schools and the entire decline of family. I'm like, okay. So when I tell you, I understand what it feels like to white knuckle your way through the holidays. When I tell you, I understand how it feels to have generational baggage, to have expectations of family, and that I've navigated my way through it. I am telling you this from so much experience. My mom would come and sit in I had this stool that was my grandmother's. And then we sat it in the kitchen, and it was just this old stool, and I kept it always because it reminded me of my grandmother. And my mom would come sit on that little stool with her little judginess. And I will tell you that she literally made me despise Thanksgiving because of all the pressure and the expectations and the comments and the stuff she made me despise the Thanksgiving holiday. I hate Thanksgiving, or at least I did till this year, when I can do whatever the frick I want. So this is why I'm so passionate about this topic, is because I've lived it. This is why I want to talk about it on ENERGIZE Live, on my podcast, on my Daily Dose of Real Talk, on any place that I can talk about it, because I've lived it, I've navigated it, and I really feel like I'm on the other side of it. And I feel like I can maybe help you navigate this, because you deserve to have an amazing holiday season, however it looks and feels to you. And I also think there is a measure of grace that has to come in to this, because traditions and family traditions are important. They are sometimes the glue that sort of binds the family together. So I think that holiday traditions and family traditions are really important. When they start to take precedence over logistical situations such as living far away, or when they start to take precedence over what works for the family and the family schedule. Listen, I will tell you this too. This is how effed up my family can be, okay? So, but you know what? I told someone in my subscriber community, she was sharing about how she has a family member who's just kind of a whack job. I'm like, well, don't we all? I do too. But here's the thing. If you have a family member who's a whack job, at least it's not you, because every family member has one. So if you don't have one, it could be you. It's better to know that it's your sister or someone else, because if you can't find that person in your family, it could be you. So just saying, it's better to have one than think that it could be you. I remember one year, this was the coolest. This was the coolest year. My husband's football team had won the conference, and for the first time ever in the history of the football program at Butler University, not only did we win the conference, but we got to go to the playoffs. Not only did we get to go to the playoffs, we got to host a playoff game. It had never been done in the history of Butler football. Okay, he won the conference, he went to the playoffs, they got to host a playoff game, and that playoff game happened on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we were deep into practice and deep into really like game week schedules, before Thanksgiving and then during Thanksgiving week. It wasn't like a holiday week for us. My husband wasn't on holiday. We were in game week, right? And the kids, the players could not go home for Thanksgiving. And so for Thanksgiving, we had it catered in to the gym at the school. And my husband, my daughters, and I served our players Thanksgiving dinner. Right? I mean, the school catered it in because the kids were playing in a conference game or in the playoff game on Saturday. But my husband and my daughters and I served them. We set it out. We served them. We cleaned it up. That was what we did for our Thanksgiving because we had a playoff game on Saturday. To tell you that the families did not understand is an understatement. I mean, can you even comprehend that the grief that I got from my mom because this is what we were doing for Thanksgiving and we weren't going to her or we weren't having a Thanksgiving dinner or whatever because we were serving our players who were playing in a game on Saturday. And I'm like, what is actually, so I'm sharing all this with you because I want you to know that as we go into this series and as we talk about thriving through the holidays, I want you to understand how deeply I understand it. And I also want you to understand and start to separate and unpack how much stuff is baggage that you are choosing to carry that does not belong to you. Okay, take that in and process that for a moment. I want you to understand how very deeply I feel this, how very passionate I am about these 2 months and helping you thrive during the holiday season because I spent a lot of years not, because I've navigated a lot. I've done a lot of mindset work. I've done a lot of personal growth. I've learned how to set boundaries. Also, and I'm just going to tell you this straight up, I make more money now. And when women make more money, a lot changes psychologically, mentally. It just does. So if you want to get bolder in your boundaries, make more money. I said what I said. I'm just telling you, it changes. It changes you. So because you understand your power and your strength, make more money. So as we go into this and we talk more about this, I know one of the topics that my subscriber community wants to talk about are boundaries. I have been through disordered eating. I have navigated disordered eating. That's not something that ever goes away. It's absolutely something that we manage. My daughters, have all walked that path to a degree. I've walked a path with really challenging parents, mothers, and challenging, you're right, Beth, yes, I can, with challenging mother-in-laws. I've walked the path of being not close to your family as far as, geographically. I've really walked a lot of different paths, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I really feel like I'm on the other side of it, and I want to help you get there too. And at the same time, that helping you get there, part of that has to be owning that you're responsible for you getting there. I cannot say that loudly and boldly enough. You have to take responsibility for navigating this season in a way that feels good and right to you and not blame other people. That's their baggage and that's their stuff. And you have to take ownership on navigating these next few weeks with habits and practices and mindsets that help you love this season, you have to take ownership of that. You cannot spend the next, for a long time, like I did, the next 2 months being mad or frustrated or anxious or any of that and blame it on someone else. Because that's their baggage to carry. And if you take that on, you've chosen that. And you've made it your baggage to carry. So step one in navigating the holidays is this. They're your holidays too. And the triggers are your responsibility. They're not anybody else's responsibility. Sorry, if you have triggers around food, eating, disordered eating, overeating, all of that, it's not anybody else's responsibility to not put dessert out at the holidays. Sorry, it's not. You are in charge of your triggers. You are in charge of your baggage. You are in charge of your mindset. You are in charge of your boundaries. So this is the mindset that we have to get into. So then as we move forward and we're having conversations about that, the comments are not filled with, but my mother-in-law, but my sister, but my, no. My sister's a whack job too. Okay? My mom's very challenging. I have strong boundaries around my mom. I have really strong boundaries around my sister. I have strong boundaries around my mother-in-law. I have to be in charge of that. I have to be in charge of my triggers. They're not in charge of my triggers. I'm in charge of my triggers. You're in charge of your triggers. You're in charge of your baggage. You're in charge of that stuff that you carry. They're in charge of theirs, and they're going to try to give it to you. They're going to try to hand it to you and put it on you. And you're in charge of saying, no, thank you. I have my own to carry that I'm trying to work through. So that is really step one coming into these holiday seasons, that you have to own all of that stuff. And you are in charge of owning all of that stuff. You are in charge of doing the work around all that stuff. And I promise when you are and when you do, your holiday seasons will change. They will change. And you will no longer feel like you are white knuckling or surviving, that you're thriving. I promise you. And I can tell you that because of the few stories that I've shared with you here, I think you can see that we've navigated a lot. We have navigated a lot. And a lot of it has to do with, my husband and I have very untraditional jobs, and our girls did very untraditional things and very untraditional activities. And so as such, we got a lot of flack from the family. But at the end of the day, it's your holidays. At the end of the day, it's your holiday season, and they're your memories, and it's your joy that you're protecting. I know that. So, okay. We're going to go because the very first tip, aside from owning all the things that you've got to own, is, and we'll talk about this on the next Energize Live, but the biggest tip that I will always have is that you have to move your body. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to move your body. Hi, Maria Ponte. How are you? Good to see you this morning. It's good to see you this morning. And I need you to write down this. Everyone write down this. Friday morning. So this Friday, 2 days from now, Friday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You need to be on Energize Live. Okay? Friday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You need to be on Energize Live. That's all I'm saying. But remember, for the next 6 weeks, we are talking about this thriving through the holiday season. I am here to help you do that. I'm going to tell you, number one, you better go move your body. Go own your, and you got to move your body. I'm going to go move my body right now. And you need to be on Energize Live Friday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends, tell your people, spread the word. You're going to want to be on then. Cool? Okay, so I will see you then, because tomorrow I'm with my team for Energize Live. So I will see you then, and we'll have great conversation. We will continue this conversation, and we'll continue to talk about thriving during the holidays. If you have topics that you want to talk about, again, my subscriber community suggested we talk about boundaries, and I've got some other. I want to talk about movement. I want to talk about nutrition. I want to talk about affirmations and intentionality. And if you've got other topics that you want to talk about, DM me, send them my way, and we'll get to them all over the next few weeks, and we'll do it probably through the podcast as well, and on DTRT and all the things. And we're going to make a very magical holiday season together. Okay, now I'm going to drop the mic just because I can. Tell me what it sounds like. I did it. I dropped the mic. Okay, go have an awesome Wednesday.